The Earthship Aurora. Rising glided silently through the star-speckled void, its gleaming hull reflecting the distant light of foreign suns. Inside the diplomatic cabin, Ambassador Eva Lynn stared out the viewport, her expression contemplative, as she watched Unity Station grow from a distant speck to a magnificent sprawling structure. 30 years after humanity had officially joined the Galactic Council, Earth was still finding its place among the stars. "You're brooding again," came a voice from behind her. Ava turned to see Major Min Hua, her military liaison, entering the cabin with a datapad tucked under his arm. The tall, composed officer moved with the careful precision that had become his trademark among the diplomatic corps. "Just thinking," Eva replied. "This will be my 5th peace summit, but the stakes feel higher this time." Min nodded, his eyes betraying a hint of concern. "The Council's formal invitation specifically requested Earth's military presence this year. They're not being subtle anymore." Dr. Leanne, Earth's chief science officer, looked up from his workstation where holographic displays showed Earth's latest environmental restoration projects. "Perhaps they've finally tired of our peaceful presentations," he said with a wry smile. "Not everyone appreciates seeing education initiatives and medical breakthroughs when they're expecting warships." Professor Tam Ann, the cultural specialist, joined them from the adjacent chamber. Her silver-streaked hair was pulled back in a tight bun, emphasizing her sharp, observant eyes. "The Agrion delegation has been particularly vocal about Earth's absence of military displays," she noted. "Their new ambassador, Eris Valen, has been questioning our commitment to galactic security." Ava sighed, moving to the central holotable, where the formal invitation from the Galactic Council hovered in shimmering blue text. "Peace Summit 15 commencing. Earth delegation is cordially invited to participate with military contingent, as per tradition." "They still don't understand," Eva said, her finger tracing the edge of the hologram. "Or perhaps they understand all too well." Min Hoa's expression darkened slightly. "It's been 5 years since the Helios incident. They haven't forgotten how Terran forces neutralized those Panics raiders without firing a single shot. Some civilizations find our restraint unsettling." "That's what worries me," Eva admitted. "We've maintained our position that Earth showcases its scientific and cultural achievements at these summits, not its weaponry. But the pressure is mounting. The Council sees our refusal as either arrogance or weakness." Dr. Leanne stepped closer to the holotable. "Our technological advancements speak for themselves. The quantum shields we've provided to 17 struggling colonies have saved millions from solar radiation." "Science doesn't intimidate warlords," Min countered. "The Zephyr Battle Group and the Ironwing Fleet will both be performing demonstrations. They respect strength they can see." Ava's communicator chimed softly, displaying a message from Earth Command. She scanned it quickly, her expression remaining neutral despite the contents. "Intelligence confirms our suspicions. Several delegations are preparing formal challenges to Earth's position on the Summit Advisory Committee if we refuse to participate in the military demonstrations again." Professor Tam Ann frowned. "On what grounds?" "Lack of authenticity," Eva quoted from the message. "They're claiming we're wasting resources by refusing to contribute to collective security demonstrations." "Interesting choice of words," Min said dryly. "As if our medical corps and disaster relief teams haven't saved thousands across the galaxy." Ava straightened her formal blue diplomatic uniform. Her decision made. "We proceed as planned. Earth's position remains unchanged. We showcase our scientific, cultural, and humanitarian achievements. Not our weapons." She paused, looking directly at Min. "But I want our security protocols at maximum readiness. Maintain the Overwatch status." Min nodded solemnly. The word Overwatch was never used lightly among Terran forces. "Of course, Ambassador." The 5 observer vessels remain in position, fully cloaked. As Aurora Rising docked with Unity Station several hours later, The Earth delegation was greeted by a reception committee of various species. The massive, multi-level station hung in neutral space, far from any star system's gravitational influence, a symbol of the galaxy's commitment to cooperation and peace. Ambassador Dorax of the Hepian, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, greeted Eva warmly. "Earth's delegation honors us with their presence once again," they said, their translator conveying genuine warmth. "Though I must warn you, Ambassador Lin, the atmosphere is tense this cycle." "When is it not?" Eva replied with a diplomatic smile. "But I appreciate the warning. The Agrion representative has been particularly vocal about Earth's continued refusal to participate in the defensive demonstrations." Dorax continued in a lower voice as they walked through the grand atrium of Unity Station. Massive viewports showcased the stars, while delegates from dozens of species mingled in groups. "There is talk of a formal protest." Eva maintained her composure. "Earth's position on military demonstrations remains unchanged. We believe peace is better served through scientific and cultural exchange." "A noble sentiment," Dorax conceded. "Though not everyone shares your species' perspective. The Zephyr, particularly, view martial prowess as the foundation of diplomatic respect." As if summoned by the mention, War Chief Koth of the Zephyr approached, a broad-shouldered, gray-skinned humanoid with ceremonial scars running across his face. His translator hung at his neck, occasionally flickering with light as it processed his guttural native language. "Ambassador Lin," he greeted, his voice deep even through the translation. "Once again, Earth sends its words but keeps its warriors hidden." It wasn't quite an insult, but the implication was clear. "War Chief Koth." Eva nodded respectfully. "Earth sends its best. Scientists, doctors, engineers, and diplomats. The very people who have helped 17 worlds, including 2 Zephyr colonies, establish sustainable fusion energy this past cycle." Koth made a dismissive gesture. "Energy that powers shields and weapons. In tomorrow's demonstrations, the Zephyr will showcase our new phase shift technology. Our warriors disappear before the enemy's eyes." He studied Eva's face. "Perhaps Earth fears comparison." Before Eva could respond, Emissary Noran of the Boreal Confederation joined them. The Boreal were known for their advanced robotics and cybernetic enhancements. Noran's right arm and eye were clearly mechanical, gleaming with subtle blue lights. "Ambassador Lin," Noran greeted. "The Boreal are curious. Will Earth finally honor tradition this year? Our autonomous battle platforms have been programmed specifically to engage with Terran combat systems for the joint exercises." Eva met Noran's gaze steadily. "I'm afraid they'll be disappointed. Earth's contribution to the summit remains focused on humanitarian advancements and cultural exchange. Our latest atmospheric restoration technology has shown promising results on the outer boreal worlds." Noran's mechanical eye whirred slightly as it focused. "Technology sustains peace only when backed by the ability to defend it. The Boreal remember when the Panics Raiders targeted our medical transports 5 cycles ago. Where was Earth's scientific diplomacy then?" Minhua, standing silently behind Eva, tensed almost imperceptibly. Eva's voice remained calm. "If I recall correctly, those raiders were neutralized without a single casualty. Sometimes strength lies in restraint." An uncomfortable silence fell over the small group, broken only when Eris Valen of Agrion approached. The Agrion were known for their directness, and Valen embodied this trait completely. Her tall, lean frame and copper-toned skin gleamed under the station's lights. "Ambassador Lin," Valen said without preamble, "the Agrion sovereignty has formally requested that Earth participate in tomorrow's security demonstrations. Your continued refusal is being interpreted by some as a lack of commitment to our collective defense." Eva maintained her diplomatic smile. "Ambassador Valen, Earth's commitment to galactic peace is unwavering. Our methods differ, but our goals align with the Council's. Pretty words, Valen replied. But the Peace Summit protocols are clear. All major powers demonstrate their capacity to contribute to collective security. Earth has abstained for 5 consecutive summits. A demonstration of force is not required by the protocols, Eva countered. Only a demonstration of commitment to maintaining peace. Earth chooses to showcase its humanitarian and scientific contributions. A convenient interpretation, Valen said, her tone sharpening. The Agrion have submitted a formal petition to the Council. If Earth refuses to demonstrate its military readiness again, we will move to have your delegation removed from the Summit Advisory Committee. The threat hung in the air, drawing attention from nearby delegates. Ava could feel the weight of dozens of alien gazes upon her. I understand your concern, Ambassador Valen. Eva replied evenly. Earth's delegation will take your petition under advisement. Now, if you'll excuse me, we must prepare for tomorrow's opening session. As the Earth delegation moved away, Min Hoa stepped closer to Eva. This is escalating more quickly than we anticipated. Yes, Eva agreed quietly. Contact Earth Command. I want hourly updates on the Overwatch status, and quietly enhance security around our delegation's quarters. The following morning, Unity Station's Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with anticipation. The massive chamber, with its tiered seating arranged in a perfect circle, could accommodate representatives from over 200 species. At the center, a sophisticated holographic projection system allowed for immersive presentations. The summit's opening ceremonies followed the traditional pattern: welcomes from the Council elders, statements of purpose, and reminders of the previous cycle's achievements. Then came the moment Eva had been dreading: the security capability demonstrations. One by one, the major powers showcased their military advancements. The Zephyr battle group displayed their phase shift technology, their warriors and small craft literally fading from view before reappearing elsewhere in the demonstration arena. The crowd murmured appreciatively at the tactical advantages such technology provided. The Iron Wing fleet unveiled a new class of energy weapons, capable of precise strikes at distances previously thought impossible. Beams of concentrated energy carved perfect patterns into demonstration asteroids positioned safely away from the station. The Boreal Confederation's autonomous battle platforms moved with unnerving precision, their networked intelligence allowing them to anticipate and counter simulated threats with machine efficiency. When Earth's turn came, Eva stepped forward. Instead of warships or weapons, the holographic display filled with images of Earth's latest humanitarian projects: atmospheric processors restoring damaged planets, medical teams combating rare diseases on frontier worlds, and cultural exchange initiatives bringing diverse species together. Earth presents its contribution to galactic peace, Eva announced, not through force, but through cooperation, science, and mutual understanding. The response was mixed. Some delegates nodded appreciatively, while others whispered among themselves, clearly unimpressed. Ambassador Valen of Agrion made a show of checking her data terminal, her disinterest obvious. After the presentations concluded, the Council opened the floor for discussion. Valen was the first to speak. The Agrion sovereignty must formally object to Earth's continued refusal to participate meaningfully in security demonstrations. She declared, "While we appreciate their humanitarian efforts, peace requires more than good intentions. It requires the capability and willingness to defend that peace when threatened." War Chief Koth of the Zephyr rumbled his agreement. The Zephyr questioned whether Earth possesses significant military capacity at all. Perhaps they hide behind words because they lack the strength to stand beside warriors. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Eva could feel the diplomatic ground shifting beneath her. She glanced at Min Hoa, whose face remained impassive, but whose eyes reflected concern. Rising to address the assembly, Ava's voice carried clearly through the chamber. Earth does not equate peace with military might. Our history taught us the dangers of such thinking. We choose to demonstrate our commitment through actions that improve lives across the galaxy. Noble sentiments, Emissary Noran interjected. But the boreal wonder, if a crisis emerged, if this very station were threatened, would Earth scientists and doctors defend us? Or would you stand aside while others fight? The question struck at the heart of the matter. Eva felt dozens of eyes upon her, measuring her response. Earth has never stood aside when innocent lives were threatened, she stated firmly. We respond to crises in the most effective way possible, which is not always through displays of firepower. Specifics, Ambassador Lin, Valen pressed. The Agrion request a direct answer. Will Earth commit to sending a military contingent to join the joint patrol exercises scheduled for the third day of this summit? A simple demonstration of capability and commitment. Ava hesitated. The request was designed to corner her, either comply and abandon Earth's principled stance, or refuse and face potential diplomatic isolation. Earth will consider the request, she finally replied. Our delegation will provide a formal response tomorrow. As the session adjourned, the Earth delegation retreated to their assigned chambers for an emergency meeting. They're forcing our hand, Professor Tam An observed once they were alone. This isn't just about military demonstrations anymore. It's about Earth's influence in the Council. The timing is suspicious, Min Hoa added. Intelligence reports indicate increased Panics Raider activity in the adjacent sectors. Remnants of the same group involved in the Helios incident. Dr. Leanne looked troubled. If we cave to pressure, we undermine everything Earth has stood for since joining the Council. If we refuse, we risk losing our voice in crucial decisions. Ava paced the room, weighing options. What's the status of our Overwatch contingent? She asked Min. 5 vessels maintaining position, fully cloaked, at strategic points around Unity Station, he replied. They've been conducting silent scans of all military technology displayed so far. The Zephyr phase shift has some impressive applications, but our sensors can still track them. The Ironwing weapons require a significant energy buildup before firing, a tactical vulnerability. Ava nodded. And our own capabilities remain superior? Significantly, Min confirmed. But revealing that fact has implications beyond this summit. I know, Eva said quietly. Earth Command has been clear. Our technological edge is a strategic asset. Once revealed, it cannot be hidden again. Later that evening, as Eva reviewed potential responses to the Council, her communication terminal chimed with an urgent message. It was Ambassador Dorax of the Hepian. Ambassador Lin. Dorax's concerned face appeared on the screen. I felt I should warn you directly. The Agrion have been gathering support for their petition. At least 7 other delegations have pledged to back their motion to remove Earth from the advisory committee if you refuse to participate in the military demonstrations. Ava's expression remained composed despite the news. Thank you for the information, Ambassador. May I ask where the Hepians stand on this matter? Dorax hesitated. The Hepion value Earth's humanitarian contributions greatly. The atmospheric processors your people provided saved one of our colony worlds. But politics requires compromise. We are a small power, dependent on trade routes that Agrion controls. I understand, Eva said softly. No explanation needed. After the communication ended, Ava called Min Hoa to her quarters. We're losing ground quickly, she told him. Valen has been busy. Min's expression was grim. Not surprising. The Agrion have always viewed Earth's approach as a challenge to their philosophy of peace through strength. The irony being that we actually share that philosophy, Eva said with a humorless smile. We simply disagree on whether strength must always be visible. What will you tell the Council tomorrow? Min asked. Ava stared out the viewport at the stars. I'm not sure yet, but increase Overwatch alert level. Something about this situation feels orchestrated. The second day of the summit began with technical discussions and cultural exchanges, but tension permeated every interaction. Eva noticed delegates from smaller powers avoiding extended conversation with the Earth delegation, clearly not wanting to be seen taking sides in the developing conflict. By midday, rumors were circulating through Unity Station. 2 Panics Raider vessels had been detected, moving toward the sector containing the station. Though still days away at their current speed, the news added an edge to the proceedings. When the full council reconvened in the afternoon, Ambassador Valen wasted no time in pressing her advantage. In light of the reported Panics activity, she announced, the Agrion sovereignty moves that all major powers commit security forces to a protective cordon around Unity Station. As a show of our shared commitment to collective security, War Chief Koth immediately voiced his support. The Zephyr will deploy a battle squadron immediately. Other delegations quickly followed suit, pledging vessels and troops to the impromptu defense force. When attention turned to Earth, Eva rose slowly. The chamber fell silent, anticipating her response. Earth acknowledges the concern regarding potential threats to this gathering, she began. However, we must question whether a public display of military force is the most effective response. Increased military presence could escalate tensions rather than reduce them. Valen's expression hardened. So Earth refuses to contribute to our collective security. Again. I did not say that, Eva corrected. Earth is committed to the safety of all beings at this summit. We simply suggest that security is sometimes better served through means other than visible shows of force. Specifics. Ambassador Lin, Valen challenged. What exactly does Earth offer in this situation, if not military support? Eva maintained her composure under the harsh scrutiny. Earth offers intelligence analysis, medical preparedness for any potential casualties, and diplomatic channels to attempt peaceful resolution should these raiders actually approach. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber, most of them skeptical. The Council will note Earth's response, one of the elders stated neutrally. The motion to establish a defensive cordon is approved. Participating forces will coordinate through Unity Station's Security Command. As the session concluded, Eva could feel the diplomatic damage accumulating. Earth's position was becoming increasingly isolated. Later that evening, as the Earth delegation discussed strategies for salvaging their influence, an alert sounded throughout Unity Station. The Panics Raiders had accelerated unexpectedly. They would reach the station within hours, not days as previously calculated. Emergency protocols activated throughout Unity Station. The promised defensive forces scrambled to establish the protective cordon, but many were still hours away from deployment. Eva's communicator chimed with an emergency council summons. When the Earth delegation arrived at the command center, they found barely controlled chaos. Representatives from major powers crowded around tactical displays, watching as 2 Panics vessels approached at high speed. They're making directly for the station, a security officer reported. Weapons active. War Chief Koth turned to Eva, his expression challenging. Now we see the value of strength. Ambassador, where are Earth's doctors and scientists in this moment of danger? Eva ignored the barb, focusing instead on the tactical display. What vessels do we currently have available for defense? The station's security chief, a veteran from the Iron Wing Federation, looked grim. 2 Zephyr interceptors and 1 Boreal patrol craft. The main defensive forces won't arrive for at least 3 hours. The station's shields? Eva asked. Operational, but not designed to withstand sustained military assault. The chief replied. They were built to deflect space debris and radiation, not weapons fire. Eva exchanged a glance with Minhua, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. The moment they had both feared, and perhaps secretly anticipated, had arrived. Before Eva could speak, the situation deteriorated further. The security chief's console flashed with new alerts. The Panics vessels have altered course slightly, he reported. They're targeting a Hepion transport that just departed from the commercial docking bay, Ambassador Dorax made a sound of distress. That's the Stellar Harmony, a civilian passenger vessel. There are over 300 Hepian on board, including children returning from a cultural exchange. The tactical display updated, showing the Panics raiders adjusting their approach to intercept the departing Hepian ship. The Zephyr interceptors moved to intervene, but it was clear they wouldn't reach the transport in time. Estimated time to Panic's weapons range? Koth demanded. 90 seconds, came the response. Eva stepped forward, her decision made. Unity Station Command. This is Ambassador Eva Lynn of Earth. I am formally notifying you that Terran forces will intervene to protect the Hepian transport. The announcement was met with confusion. What Terran forces? Valen asked sharply. You have no military vessels here. Eva ignored the question, turning instead to Minhua. Major, activate Overwatch Protocol. Authorization Lin Alpha 7. Min nodded, touching a small communication device concealed in his uniform. Overwatch activated, he confirmed quietly. Response in 10 seconds. The assembled delegates looked between Eva and the tactical display in confusion. For several seconds, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the station's sensors registered something impossible. 5 vessels suddenly appeared in perfect formation around the Hepian transport, seemingly materializing from empty space. Their design was unlike anything most of the delegates had seen before. Sleek, dark hulls with barely visible energy fields shimmering across their surfaces. What are those? War Chief Koth demanded. Where did they come from? On the tactical display, the 5 Terran vessels moved with uncanny precision. 2 positioned themselves between the Hepian transport and the approaching raiders. The other 3 executed a flanking maneuver, surrounding the Panic ships before they could react. No weapons fire was exchanged. Instead, the Terran vessels emitted some kind of energy pulse. Immediately, the Panic's raiders went dark, their engines and weapon systems shutting down simultaneously. By the void, the security chief whispered. They've been completely neutralized. The command center erupted in confused exclamations and demands for explanation. Eva raised her hand for silence, then activated the main communication channel. This is Ambassador Eva Lynn of Earth, broadcasting to all vessels and Unity Station. The threat has been neutralized. Terran forces have disabled the Panic's raiders without casualties. The Hepian transport is safe and will be escorted back to Unity Station. She turned to face the assembled delegates, her expression resolute. Earth has never brought military forces to peace summits because we believed such displays contradicted the very purpose of these gatherings. But make no mistake, we have always been prepared to act when innocent lives are threatened. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. The Terran vessels had not just appeared from nowhere, they had been there all along, invisible to even the most sophisticated detection systems. How long? Valen finally asked, her voice uncharacteristically subdued. How long have Terran ships been shadowing this station? Earth has maintained a protective presence at every peace summit since we joined the Council. Eva answered simply. Not to threaten or intimidate, but to safeguard. Today is the first time we've had cause to reveal that presence. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. Earth hadn't been avoiding military displays out of weakness or pacifistic naivety. They had been concealing capabilities that apparently surpassed anything the other powers had demonstrated. As the initial shock subsided, practical concerns took precedence. The disabled Panic's vessels were secured by the arriving defense forces. The Hepian transport returned safely to Unity Station, escorted by 2 of the Terran vessels. The other 3 Terran ships maintained position around the station, no longer bothering to conceal their presence. In the hours that followed, the Earth delegation found themselves the center of intense attention. What had been dismissive skepticism transformed overnight into wary respect, and in some cases, thinly veiled concern. The 3rd day of the summit began with an emergency council session. The chamber was packed, with even minor powers sending their highest representatives. At the center of attention were the Earth delegation and the still unfolding revelations about Terran military capabilities. The Council Elder, who spoke first, was from the Mathori, one of the oldest spacefaring civilizations. The events of yesterday have raised significant questions. Ambassador Lin, the Council formally requests an explanation of Earth's security policy. Ava stood, facing the assembly with calm dignity. Earth's policy has always been consistent. We believe peace is not achieved through displays of military prowess, but through cooperation, mutual aid, and the advancement of all civilizations. However, we have never claimed to be defenseless or unwilling to act when necessary. Your vessels appeared from nowhere, War Chief Koth stated. No Zephyr sensors detected them before they revealed themselves. Even our phase shift technology leaves energy signatures. Advanced cloaking technology is not unique to Earth, Eva replied diplomatically. We have simply refined the application. And the method by which you disabled the panic ships? Emissary Noran of the Boreal inquired. No visible weapons were fired, yet both vessels were completely neutralized. A focused electromagnetic pulse, calibrated to affect their specific systems without causing permanent damage. Eva explained. Earth prefers non-lethal methods whenever possible. Valen leaned forward. The Agrion sovereignty formally withdraws its petition regarding Earth's participation in military demonstrations. It is abundantly clear that Earth's capacity to contribute to collective security is not in question. The concession was significant, but Eva could hear the calculation behind it. The Agrion, like the other powers, were rapidly reassessing Earth's position in the galactic hierarchy. However, Valen continued, the Council must express concern about Earth's decision to maintain armed vessels in close proximity to Unity Station without disclosure. Such actions could be interpreted as surveillance of other delegations. The implication was clear, and not entirely unfounded. Eva chose her next words carefully. Earth's vessels have one purpose: to protect and preserve life. They do not gather intelligence on other civilizations' technology or military capabilities. They observe only to the extent necessary for security assessment. It wasn't the complete truth, and Eva knew that most of the delegates were aware of this. Major Min Hoa had indeed been collecting detailed information on every weapon system and defense technology displayed at the summit. But challenging her statement directly would invite further uncomfortable questions about the limitations of their own intelligence capabilities. The Council session continued with discussions of the Panic's threat and adjustments to Unity Station's security protocols. By midday, a new consensus was emerging, one that recognized Earth's approach to galactic security in a different light. That evening, Ava received an unexpected visitor to the Earth delegation's quarters. Ambassador Dorax of the Hepion arrived, accompanied by Thane Mark, the captain of the civilian transport that had nearly fallen victim to the Panic's attack. Ambassador Lin, Dorax began, their voice heavy with emotion. The Hepion wished to formally express our gratitude. Without your intervention, the stellar harmony would have been destroyed with all hands. Captain Mark stepped forward, extending a ceremonial Hepion blessing cloth. 327 lives were saved by Terran action. The Hepion will not forget this debt. Ava accepted the cloth with appropriate reverence. No debt exists between friends, Captain. Earth acted as any civilization should when innocent lives are threatened. After the Hepion representatives departed, Min Hoa joined Ava on the small observation deck attached to their quarters. Unity Station rotated slowly beneath them, while beyond, stars stretched into infinity. The diplomatic landscape has shifted completely, Min observed. Valen can barely look you in the eye. Koth keeps asking technical questions about our phase shift technology, though he's careful not to call it that. And what have our observers noted about their reactions in private? Eva asked. Min's expression turned serious. The Zephyr and Boreal delegates had an extended meeting immediately after today's session. The Agrion joined them later. We couldn't penetrate their security measures entirely, but the fragments we gathered suggest they're concerned about technological disparity. As they should be, Eva said quietly. What we revealed yesterday was the minimum necessary to address the immediate threat. We still maintain significant capabilities in reserve. Earth Command is concerned about potential blowback, Min added. The other powers now know we've been watching them all along. They'll be questioning everything: past incidents, technological trades, diplomatic concessions. Eva nodded. The Helios incident won't seem so mysterious anymore. They'll realize those weren't unknown forces that intervened. Do you regret revealing our capabilities? Min asked, after a moment of silence. Eva considered the question carefully. No. The Hepian transport would have been destroyed. 327 lives were worth the strategic adjustment we now face. She paused. But I wonder if this was the moment Earth Command has been preparing for all along. The inevitable revelation. The final day of the Peace Summit arrived with a changed atmosphere. Formal proceedings continued, but underneath ran currents of reassessment and recalculation. Species that had dismissed Earth's influence now sought private meetings with Eva. Technical experts tried to casually inquire about Terran capabilities. Military representatives watched Minhua with new wariness. The closing session of the Council brought one final surprise. The elder from the Mathori rose to propose an amendment to the Peace Summit protocols. In light of recent events, the elder began. The Mathori suggest that the requirement for military demonstrations be reconsidered. Perhaps a more nuanced approach to security contributions would better serve our collective interests. The proposal gained immediate support from several delegations, including, notably, the Hepian. After brief discussion, a modified protocol was adopted. Participating powers could demonstrate their commitment to collective security through either traditional military displays or through what was termed silent security protocols, a diplomatic phrase that essentially legitimized Earth's approach. As the summit concluded, and delegations prepared to depart, Eva found a moment of quiet reflection in Unity Station's botanical garden. The artificial environment housed plant species from dozens of worlds, creating a peaceful retreat from the station's political intensity. She was unsurprised when Ambassador Volin of the Agrion found her there. Ambassador Lin, Valen greeted her, more subdued than in previous encounters. I thought we might speak privately before departures begin. Eva gestured to an adjacent bench. Of course. Valen sat, her usual confidence tempered by recent events. The Agrion misjudged Earth, she said directly. We interpreted your reluctance to engage in military demonstrations as either weakness or naive idealism. We failed to consider a third possibility. That strength doesn't require demonstration to exist, Eva suggested. Precisely. Valen studied a flowering plant from her homeworld before continuing. The Agrion philosophy has always been that peace comes through visible strength, that potential adversaries must see your capability to be deterred by it. Earth's history taught us differently, Eva replied. Sometimes visible strength invites challenge rather than deterring it. Sometimes it triggers arms races and escalation. A perspective worth consideration, Valen acknowledged. Though I must ask, now that your capabilities have been revealed, will Earth's approach change? Will you join the military demonstrations at the next summit? Eva smiled slightly. That decision will be made by Earth Command when the time comes. But I suspect our fundamental philosophy remains unchanged. We will continue to emphasize scientific and cultural exchange as our primary contribution to these gatherings. Even though everyone now knows what lies behind that choice? Especially because they know, Eva said. The most important aspect of Earth's approach was never the secrecy itself, but the principle behind it, that peace is best served by focusing on cooperation rather than competition, on saving lives rather than threatening them. As Valen departed, Minhua arrived with final updates before their departure. The 5 observer vessels are maintaining position around the station until all delegations have safely departed, he reported. Earth Command has authorized continued visible presence for the next 48 hours as a transitional measure. And after that? Eva asked. Min's expression was unreadable. Standard protocol resumes. Observation continues, but visibility returns to minimum levels. Eva nodded. Understanding the implications, Earth had revealed one layer of its capabilities, but would continue to maintain others in reserve. The cycle of secrecy and security would continue, albeit with adjusted parameters. Aboard the Earthship Aurora Rising, the Earth delegation prepared for departure. Through the viewports, they could see Unity Station slowly receding, its massive structure gleaming against the void. For the first time, the Terran security vessels were visible in standard formation, a silent reminder of Earth's revealed capabilities. In the ship's conference room, Eva conducted a final briefing with her team. The diplomatic landscape has fundamentally changed, she told them. Earth's position in the Council will be different moving forward. We will face new challenges, new scrutiny, and new opportunities. Will we maintain Overwatch protocols for future summits? Professor Taman asked. Yes, Eva confirmed. Earth Command was explicit on that point. While we have revealed some aspects of our capabilities, we have not abandoned the principle of restrained visibility. Dr. Lian looked thoughtful. Perhaps this revelation will actually advance our broader goals. Other species may be more willing to engage with our scientific initiatives if they no longer view them as compensatory offerings from a militarily weak civilization. That's one potential positive outcome. Eva agreed. But we should also prepare for increased efforts to assess the full extent of our capabilities. Every technological exchange will be scrutinized for potential military applications. Min Hua, who had been reviewing security updates, looked up. Earth Command has already detected increased scan attempts directed at our vessels. Several species are very interested in understanding exactly how our cloaking technology functions. Let them look, Eva said with quiet confidence. What they observed was already a generation behind our current frontline capabilities. As Aurora Rising engaged its drive systems and accelerated away from Unity Station, Eva returned to the viewport, where her journey had begun days earlier. The stars stretched before them, countless worlds and civilizations, each with their own understanding of strength and security. Earth had revealed one secret while maintaining others. The delicate balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, but the underlying principles remained unchanged. True security came not from the weapons one displayed, but from the values one upheld when those weapons were needed. The real reason Earth never brought their military to peace summits wasn't fear or weakness or even principled pacifism. It was the understanding that true power lay in the ability to protect without needing to threaten, to maintain peace without advertising the means to enforce it. As Unity Station faded from view, Eva thought about the 327 Hepian whose lives had been saved. In that moment, the complex calculations of galactic politics seemed distant and abstract. What mattered was the choice Earth had made to protect life, even at the cost of strategic advantage. The Aurora Rising accelerated toward the solar system, carrying the Earth delegation home. Behind them, invisible once more to standard sensors, 3 Terran vessels resumed their silent vigil. The galaxy had glimpsed Earth's true capabilities, but the full extent of Terran technological advancement remained hidden, a quiet guarantee that when innocent lives were threatened, help would appear as if from nowhere. Peace through unseen strength. It was not just a strategy, it was a philosophy, and despite the revelations of the past days, it would continue to guide Earth's path among the stars. As Eva prepared her formal report for Earth Command, she included a personal observation. The most powerful weapon in our arsenal was never our technology, but our restraint in using it. That weapon remains intact, perhaps even strengthened by recent events. The galaxy now knows that Earth possesses the capacity for overwhelming force, yet chooses a different path. That knowledge itself may prove more effective than any military demonstration in advancing our vision of galactic peace. The starlight streamed through the viewport, a silent witness to humanity's continuing journey through the cosmos. A journey guided not by the need to dominate, but by the determination to protect. In the vast darkness between stars, Earth's ships watched and waited, unseen guardians of a peace that required no parades, no demonstrations, and no threats, only the quiet certainty that when needed, they would be there.